3:30 next semester, statics. Static in those classes. Once you have the prereqs, and he's going to also tell you about his classes and what he does with the 3D printing group.
Good afternoon and welcome to the transfer edition of ASEC. It's wonderful to see you all here. I hope you all come no matter what we're doing on our Friday meetings. As Ms. White said, I do the 3D team over at ATEP. It's about 2 miles away. We're a satellite campus, and we have 13 additive machines and a couple of subtractive machines. And whatever portion of engineering you're in, I urge you to come by sometime and see what we can do to assist you with the products that you're developing. We have a complete design, model making, and prototyping department so that you can get things out of your head and into 3D. It's wonderful to see this quantity out today. As much as we try to give you some advice on classes to go to, these guys, I hope, can give you far better information than anything that we can. Okay? So enjoy today. And you're...
My name is Amal.
And I'm Parisa. I'm the VP.
And I'm the ASEC's treasurer this year.
So we'd like to welcome you guys to our transfer talk of 16-17. We've prepared a bunch of representatives from different universities and all our alumni from previous years to tell you guys their experience when they transferred.
So we hope that you as students get a better idea of the transfer process, see what it's like, and maybe get a little insight about what's up ahead for you guys. For the first half hour or so, we're going to have different people from within the IVC community come and speak to you. We're going to have people from the Transfer Center, from the Student Success Center, and other essential departments at IVC that make your guys' experience that much better. So we hope you guys enjoy.
Okay.
All right, well, good afternoon. If you don't know me, my name's Robert Melendez. I'm a counselor and I'm the chair of guidance and counseling here at IVC. And I think a couple of the things I really want to kind of talk to you about, you're going to hear probably a couple of different times, but just to really hammer home is really the type of courses you should be taking and the things you should be trying to do now, even in community college, to prepare yourself not only for transfer, but even after transfer once you get into your career. And more importantly, trying to get those jobs, because that's going to be the big next hurdle after you get through transfer. So first thing is just courses. I know when you walked in the door, if you were with any other students in kind of a general presentation, one of the first things you hear is, okay, you need to complete 60 units for transfer, you need to complete GE courses, and you need to complete major courses. Well, I'm here to tell you as engineering students, you could probably pretty much throw all that out the window. And I think any of you that have been here for any more than one semester probably already know that. Or if you're an engineering student who's already talked to me, you probably already know that too. And it's not to where you don't need to do the units, it's that you're going to be doing a whole lot of extra units. How many of you guys have a plan of about 70, 80 units by the time you transfer? Exactly. Already 90, see? We might have our winner over there, although we might have a couple students that will rival you depending on where they're going and what classes they finish before they're done. So when you talk about units for transfer for engineering students, the big thing is not general education, it is major, exactly. And you have to get on those major classes quickly. There's a couple of different reasons why. Number one, when you apply for transfer, you want to have some of those classes, and as many of those as possible, with grades. So that way you can show grades in those courses. The other thing is there's a lot of those courses that are sequential that basically mean you can't touch one until you do the other one. You know, we brought up statics a second ago, the engineering 30. That one's got 2 different prerequisites that you have to make sure to get before you get into there. And that is the most and one of the most important things for you in order to be competitive. A lot of schools won't even look at you from a transfer standpoint if you don't have these major classes done. So yes, we need the 60 units because that's minimum to transfer, but as an engineering student, you're going to be way over that, so you don't even need to worry about that. More importantly, it's trying to figure out how you're getting all those math done, how you're getting the physics done, how we're getting some of those engineering classes done, and I would tell you that changes consistently. and you want to come in and see a counselor, talk to, of course, your instructors and everything like that, because I know we are working on new classes in engineering and kind of courses around that every year, and we are getting each of those courses year by year articulated, meaning that they're going to actually count for courses when you transfer. And the whole goal is to try to get as many of those to count as possible. So the next thing I want to kind of lead into is that same thought. You might actually be looking at a school that has, of course, the physics, the math, things like that for you for transfer, but then you're hearing all these other engineering courses, but you're looking on your major list and you're saying, well, those aren't listed as things in which I need to do. I would tell you that if you can reasonably fit them into your plan, you want to consider them, even if they are not articulating for your major. And the reason for that is because you're going to get your hands dirty and your feet wet in some of these concepts and actually doing some of this stuff, even if technically you might have to do it again. And probably the best thing there is that you're going to have run through it before, and hopefully, therefore, it's going to make it a bit easier for you once you kind of take it. And it's not going to be the same exact course, but once you kind of take another kind of version of the course in which you took. And then the other thing is, hopefully, as Professor White is doing really hard, is trying to get those classes to count anyways for the major. And who knows, by the time you're ready to transfer, those courses might actually start working for your major, and you're going to be able to get credit for them for your major when you transfer. And I want to be clear with that. You know, it's one thing to not count for your major, and it's another thing to count for transfer. These courses are going to transfer. It's just that we're working on the actual accreditation, or articulation, I should say, for them to count for the major. So again, I highly recommend you look at those and take those. The last thing I want to kind of hammer home is just kind of the balance and looking at figuring out what you want to do beyond those major classes here at IVC. You know, a lot of you I know are probably in the honors program, mainly because I was the honors counselor all the way up to this fall, and I see and recognize a couple of you. Honors is a great program to get into, and if you can get it done, great. What I happen to run into with a lot of the students that I work with in engineering that were also honors students is you find out real quickly we do not have a whole lot of honors courses in the pathway for transferring for engineering. And it becomes difficult to try to get your honors credit done, your minimum credits for kind of transfer, and your credits for your major. And again, what did I just tell you is the most important thing? Major stuff, right? So that's where we're going to actually have to take a look at on your plan what we need to prioritize. And honors classes, these other courses are important and they're good to take. But the most important thing is to maintain your GPA and make sure you stay strong in that area, and also complete those major courses in a timely manner too. So that's where you are going to have to look at potentially kind of maybe shaving some of those courses off or reworking your schedule towards the end too. All right, so just wanted to kind of talk that out. I think you guys are good. I'll be hanging out for a little bit. Oh, yes. Thank you. And I actually have the flyers outside too. So we do have a new program which is called our DFM, or our Faculty Mentor Program. And Professor White is one of our faculty mentors. And what this is basically to give students, and engineering is a perfect example, some extra support and exposure to not only kind of the career that you're going to be going into, but also the next level as far as the university and what to expect there. You know, it's one thing for the counselors, we can tell you a lot of information about majors, about courses, about transfer, about things in which have been kind of the trends as far as getting into some of these careers. But I'll be honest with you, I was a marriage and family therapist, I was a psych major. I have no idea truly how engineering courses work at the university. That's where our faculty mentors are going to come in and have the best kind of advice from that standpoint, where you start thinking like, all right, I took a physics class here, but do I take physics on the next level, and what is that like? How are the engineering courses going to be? And that's where you can talk to the faculty mentors, not only like Professor White in engineering, but also other faculty mentors in other areas if you have friends or you're thinking about another interest too. So yes, faculty mentors are available. Out on the table, I brought some flyers for that, and you can grab that and you can see all their contact information there.
So for engineering.
All right, well, thank you. Like I said, I'll be hanging out for a while over in the hallway if you have questions, okay?
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Robert.
Over in student life, as I said before, we support clubs and organizations. We also support you all as students with free Scantrons, if you have interest in that, blue books and those kinds of things. We also provide events and activities on campus, and so we have done Welcome Week activities. Next week, or the week after, we're celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. Have you all heard of Indigenous Peoples Day? Indigenous Peoples Day? How many people have heard of Columbus Day? Okay, so we don't do that. We don't celebrate Columbus, we celebrate Indigenous peoples. You know, because I discovered this microphone. Follow what I'm saying? Okay. So we do different events and activities like that, but basically try to support you all both in the classroom and outside of the classroom for curricular activities and co-curricular activities. And again, as I said, ASEC and doing this event, I think this is the 4th year that they've done this event. This is just awesome. When we did student orientation this year, we asked incoming students, what is it that you are most fearful of about school? And one of those is going to these classes really going to help me to get my major or to get my career? And so when you have these opportunities like ASEC is providing, where you can come to this events and activities, this is going to increase your networking capabilities, increase your competencies in this area. So basically what we've been doing is working with all the different clubs and organizations. So if you're a student leader within ASEC or any club, you basically get to have priority registration. So that means that you get to have your classes, well, you're part of a whole group of people who get to have classes, but I think you have to be, I don't know who gets the most priority registration, but if you are a member of student clubs and organization and in leadership, you get to get priority registration. We also provide training and leadership development opportunities. So like next week, we're going on a retreat to the woods. I'm from Inglewood. I don't do woods, but I am going camping with 120 students and me in the woods. And it's not glamping or anything, it's truly in the woods. But we're gonna be having fun and doing leadership games and having fun activities and just getting to know each other. So we have different workshops on time management, public speaking, cultural competency, all these kind of different events and activities that will help you in your skill sets. So that'll help you outside in the workforce and so forth. So you do get a benefit of priority registration if you get involved, and certainly just being involved helps to meet and interact with other people.
My name is Kay McDonald, and I work in the Career Center here at Irvine Valley College. So for those of you who might be newer or who may not know yet, I'm going to start by sharing where the Career Center is. We're in the same room as the Transfer Center. We are on the 2nd floor of the Student Services Center, right across the walkway from the Counseling Center. We are here to help you with all aspects of the career development process, and that starts with choosing a major. But you're an ASEC, so in theory, you know your major, right? Is that a yes? Awesome, I see lots of heads nodding. Okay, but let's say you were not sure about the type of science degree or the type of specialty in engineering. That is something that we would be able to help you with. So what we have is 2 part-time counselors and 1 full-time counselor. We make appointments not just to talk about your major and maybe a career path so that you can strategize, but we also help by reviewing resumes, reviewing cover letters. We don't help you apply for jobs or do a resume for you, but we can help you with strategies and tactics on how to find a job or when you should be looking for an internship and stuff like that. A lot of you are here today because you're a member of ASEC, and according to Dr. White, after today you will be a member of ASEC if you aren't already. That's a great start. That's the first step. That's what we call pre-professional experience. You're getting involved, you're meeting people, okay? And hopefully you go even further and get involved by taking a leadership position and being a part of the event organization team, things like that. That's all stuff that's going to be helpful when you do start to apply for internships and jobs. We also organize a lot of the events on campus. We do job fairs. Next week we're doing a mock interview where we put you in front of a panel of 3 professionals from the Irvine Rotary Club, and they're going to ask you questions like it's a real job interview But the difference is right after they will give you feedback on how you did. There's a rubric, they'll tell you what you did well, what you can improve, so that when you do get in front of a real panel for an interview, you feel a little bit more prepared, okay? We are doing a job fair. We do a job fair every semester. So if you have any questions, please come upstairs to the to SSC 230 in the Career Center and come see us. We can give you a calendar. I've left calendars and all sorts of brochures outside for you so that you can stay in touch with us. All right? If you have any questions, yeah, you know where to find us.
Good afternoon. My name is Tuan Nguyen, and I'm actually a new faculty member here. I was hired on in January as a STEM counselor, and then just recently they asked me to help coordinate the transfer center. I just want to reiterate a message that Robert mentioned earlier, how important it is to do major preparation for your major. I've actually worked with a number of STEM students, and for those students, for some reason they didn't know that they did not have to do the full IGETC plan, okay? They kept thinking, they had to do IGETC, it was about 13 courses or so, okay? And they weren't really focusing so much on their major prep. So they had to pack on in their schedule 3 STEM classes, physics, a bio and a chem course, and then 2 honors courses. And I looked at it, and it was about 18, 19 units. It was quite hefty. So once I shared with them that if you want to transfer to a UC, you actually want to do what's called the 7-course pattern. Anyone has heard of that before? All right, a number of you, okay? So my message is always, if you're looking at the UCs, for example, and you're a STEM major, you should not do the full IGETC pattern, but you should really do the 7-course pattern. Okay? And once I share it with students, and then I rework their schedule in for them, it makes a lot of sense. Then they're only having to do 14, 15 units, and then they're able to fit everything in all their major prep because there's so much sequencing of classes for their major. Okay? So please work with me or any of the transfer counselors so that we could work with you to make sure that you have all the required courses, which is actually another example. For example, if you're only looking at transferring to one school, let's say UCI in engineering, that's really easy. But once you start adding additional schools, USC, UCLA, they may require additional courses. So you want to make sure that you do all the required and as many of the recommended as possible. Because more of the recommended classes you complete, the better your chances of getting in. So I'll give you an example. One student has a 3.9 GPA, but has only done just required, okay? Another student has maybe a little lesser GPA, a 3.7, did all the required and all the recommended. Probably, not all the time, but usually the 3.7 student who has finished up every single major prep course probably has a higher chance of getting in. So it's not just about an exact GPA number, but they look at a lot of different things, especially for STEM students. Now, through the Transfer Center, we actually offer a lot of services for all transfer students. For example, application workshops to the Cal States, to the UCs, just general information workshops on transferring. I know that for next week, we actually have a couple of really excellent events for you. Next week is our Transfer Week. During Transfer Week, on Tuesday, we will have a fair. So we're going to have over 60 universities, colleges and universities here between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And you could touch base with the Cal States, UCs, private universities, and speak to them directly about admissions, GPA. Recently, I spoke to the Cal Poly Pomona rep, and I actually found out that for engineering, it's approximately around a 3.5 GPA. So it gives you much more information to gauge where you're at. I also, for next week, we do have a couple of other workshops. For example, UC Santa Barbara, they're actually offering a workshop on transferring to the UCs. And then on Thursday, through the Transfer Center, we have a workshop on transitioning to the universities. So we're going to have folks from UCI and Cal State Fullerton in their Transfer Center sharing with students, all those opportunities available for students. Research opportunities, studying abroad. So you could actually hear from them even before you transfer all these opportunities at the university that you can sometimes, even as an IVC student, even participate. For example, did you know that even if you're not a UCI student, you could actually participate in research at UCI? Oh, so right here. Yeah. But those are the examples, that we want to share with you, those opportunities available for you. Okay, and I know that we also have Christian here, so please come by and visit our transfer center so that we could share with you all these great resources available for you through our center.
So Christian and Tuan and Kay,
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. You hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. So I'm Bob Cassidy. I'm the curriculum director for the School of Engineering at UCI. Basically what that means is that I work with the campus on all of our admissions policies, actually involved in some of the selection, freshmen and transfers. I do articulation for the school. I shape a lot of the programs and how they operate inside the school. But one of the other things that I'm doing right now is I'm also the chair of an engineering council which covers the entire state of California, all the community colleges, all the CSUs, all the privates, and all the UCs. Engineering statewide. And so in that role, we work with all the institutions. So I work on the UC Transfer Pathways project. We work on CID courses for transfer to CSUs, as well as their transfer pathways as well. So a lot of what I say, some of what I say is going to be general for all engineering programs, and I'll give you some specifics about UCI. So let me start with the pitch to get you to come to UCI. So UCI, we have the largest number of transfer applicants into engineering programs in the state of California. We are the most popular transfer destination for students to apply to. We brought in 325 transfer students just into engineering last year. We brought in another almost 300 computer science students into the School of Computer Science. So we are a very big transfer destination for students. And IVC is our largest feeder school. We have about 30 IVC students as new engineers starting just this fall. So we're at the end of the first week of classes. We also brought in about 920 freshmen this year as well, our largest freshman class. So what else? So some of the things we have going on right now, we just built 4 new fabrication facilities for students. So we're bringing in equipment. We already have a large 3D printing advanced manufacturing center. We actually have 2 of them. I don't know why we have 2 of them, but we have 2 of them. But these are additional spaces for student project work. We're sending students actually to other places around the city to do larger scale fabrication work than we can accommodate on campus. So one of the groups that we have right now, UCI is one of the finalist schools in the Hyperloop competition. To design a scale model of a Hyperloop vessel. I think they're presenting that this weekend or next week. So that's coming up quite soon. And so they're actually fabricating that up because it's big. So to give you an idea of some of the things that our students do, the UC is kind of a reputation for being a little more theory, with the Cal States being a little more hands-on. That probably doesn't apply quite as much as it used to. Most of the UCs are putting in a lot more what we call experiential learning, so learning by doing. And you find that much more commonly throughout the UC system. You find that a lot at UCI. So for instance, our freshmen coming in, the first thing they do in their first quarter is we have them build quadcopters. So they're designing and building quadcopters. They're 3D printing components for it. They all have to come up with their own design. They have to present it. And there's a competition at the end of the quarter. In their second quarter, they come back and they make these semi-autonomous. So they come in and they program them and they tweak them and they get them to do various things by themselves, go in and use a sensor to determine where they are positionally and then perform some action at that time. We have groups doing Fitbits, personal fitness devices. We've done some things with solar cells, and we're doing this with the freshmen in their first couple quarters. And the idea is to get students into actually doing hands-on engineering as early as possible so that we can extend that through the next 4 years. So as transfer students, you would be coming into the middle of that process. Our mechanical engineering students in their 3rd year are building autonomous robots and things like that. And we have kind of a king of the hill competition. They go and they fight each other, to who can get to the right spot and push all the other guys out of the way. It's exciting when you've got about 75 robots out all there fighting with each other. So we have a lot of these more hands-on opportunities. And we can do some of the bigger projects because, you know, we're a relatively large engineering school. We have a large graduate program, which means that we have a lot of facilities that we can, you know, for undergraduates that are ready to do that, we can move you up into these more advanced facilities that we have to work with graduate students and to do more and more advanced things. So that's my pitch to come to UCI. I'm not too worried about you guys applying because you are my largest applicant pool. I had over 100 IVC students apply to UCI last year. But is Professor White here? Oh, she stepped out? Okay. So Pasadena City College is catching you guys, so keep applying. I want to keep you my top school. Okay, so what I want to talk to you really about is how to understand our transfer requirements so that you understand what you need to do to get in, and then how to give you the best shot of getting in. So one of the things that we changed, we first published it last year, and it first goes into effect for fall 17. So how many people are thinking about applying fall 17? Okay, and how many fall 18? Okay. So we have new requirements. The best place to see them right now is probably on Assist. So you go and you look up, you know, Irvine Valley College, UCI, pick your major, and at the top it will tell you, you know, the requirements for transfer for your major. The requirements are broken down into 3 categories. The topmost category, the first set of courses that you'll see, are the courses that are required for transfer. For most of our majors, we have a 3.0 GPA requirement, minimum requirement to be considered. With one exception, that's our pre-med program. Pre-med program, it's a 3.5. The reason it's a 3.5 is that if you want to have a shot at getting into a medical school, you better have a 3.5. So we set that bar at that point. If your GPA isn't quite that strong, we have a biomedical program, a non-pre-med one that has a 3.0 GPA. So you can come into that program. You can still pick up some of the courses that you want if you think that you can still get up there. Medical schools don't require that you go to get a pre-med degree. You can get any degree and apply to medical school, but there are certain courses that you need to have in order to be competitive. And we can work with students on that in any major. So when you look at Assist, the topmost section will be the courses that you must have to be considered for admission. There's typically, not every program, but most programs have another category under that which says, do these other courses as well, because they will help you to graduate more quickly. Our goal right now is to try to get students to graduate from UCI in 2 years, reliably. You know, we want to get all of our students out in 2 years. And then the third category is basically every other course that counts towards the major that you can transfer in. Now, these are things that if you have space in your schedule and you can't do any of the other courses or any of the other things you need for transfer, you can take these other courses. They do articulate. You will get credit. It will save you a little bit of effort, but it won't necessarily allow you to graduate any faster. So the message is focus on the top category, then do the second category. Don't worry too much about the third category. If you get it, that's gravy, and that's good. Everything that Robert had said earlier about the differences for engineering transfer are absolutely true. Don't worry about IGETC. Part of the reason for that is that engineering programs, and you see that in how you prepare for transfer, but it holds true even after you transfer, is that we have these long prerequisite chains of subjects. If you're an electrical engineer and you don't have circuits, there's pretty much nothing to do at UCI when you arrive. We're going to put you in circuits